Dum, dum, dum. Ba-da-da-do-do-do. It says we are live. Yeah, I know I'm a little bit early on another stream, but hey, we know the routine by now, so everyone should be used to it. And since I am about what? Geez, almost 2.5 minutes early, I'll just sit here and ruminate my thoughts amongst myself as everyone comes in. So good to see everybody. Hello, Bonnie. How are you doing? Good to see you. Let's see. There we go. So I know everyone's like on the other channel, but you've been alerted. So again, it is what it is. So we just roll with it as we go with it. Hello, Melissa. How are you? Favor be to you as well. Go. And Bonnie. And I'll just say it to everybody, favor to us all, be of service to others. Always remember, if you're still breathing, then you're prospering. And that should be your motto. Nothing missing, nothing broken, as everybody piles in. Hey, Scotty boy, how you doing, brother? Saw your comments earlier. Lost in space. Hello, what's up? Good to see you. So yesterday, Miss Trina needed to recharge her spirit and her body. Yeah, good lesson for us all. And so I had things I needed to do, and so it was a good day. Missed y'all, but hey, we're just here and having fun. Oh, Robert, how are you doing? Good to see you. Well, good to hear that, Melissa. Good to see you. Coke Queen, what's up? Good to see you, Jargo. And so many others. And then some not others. I never was in high school, and so I never got into all the drama and, all that other nonsense. Actually, turns out I probably got the better end of the deal. So, Veb, how are you doing? Good to see you as well. So I am Nancy. How are you? Good to see you, my dear. Chrissy, good to see you as well. And what else? Robert Garcia, what's up? Good to see you as well. Hope you had a good Tuesday. Beautiful day here. Gotta love it. The moon. Wow, pretty cool. Grace, what's up? I love this group. Just a good group of people. So what else is happening? Actually, there's a lot. A lot happening. I told my wife last night as we were finishing dinner, and I said, it's getting stranger and stranger in this realm. I mean, I don't know about you, but wow, there is something that is doing its best to, just alter everything about our reality, everything. And holy crap, Batman. I mean, that's all I got to say is, holy crap, Batman. And it's weird. You ever get the feeling that, you absolutely know for a fact that you're not a part of this reality that's being unfolded, but yet as well as I, you're here. You can't separate the two. But yet we certainly don't have to, it gets strange. Lady Ellie, good to see you. Favor being to you as well. No schooling kept my mind free. It did. Yeah. I was I missed all that. But I wouldn't have missed what I grew up in. It's true. You look back at those days and you really savor the flavor, don't you? I mean, there is a certain, I don't know, quintessence of innocence. I mean, none of us were that innocent to begin with, but you look back and you go, wow, I had to have had grace on my life, favor, because Somebody be watching over me. That's all I got to say. Somebody be watching. Gabriel, good to see you. Peace and love, Stephen. Jacobs, hello. Good to see you as well. So, Paul Joe, what's happening? Yeah. Whew. A lot of people passing over too. I don't know. Lot of people passing over the crossing. I mean, that has got to be one busy promenade. There is no doubt about it. I mean, many of us have had glimpses of it, and it's a busy, busy place. Yeah, we're not all human there either, isn't it? I've been feeling another shift coming. I think it's upon us now. That's a good way of looking at it, Lost in Space. Yeah, yeah. Youth is magical, isn't it, though? That's a fact. It really is. I enjoyed mine. Reading an article, I think it was in Psychology Today or one of them, that said that, have you heard of the Peter Pan syndrome? It's where, and that in this case, it was particularly with men, that more men in their 40s, even some approaching now their 50s, are still living the Peter Pan complex. I mean, they exist in an adult world. Of course, that's subject to debate. What is an adult? But yet it's only like they venture out. They always come back, which I guess is maybe a way. Isby, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Maybe it's a way to keep young. I don't know. You know, seems to work. So, man, got a lot to cover today. This study that we're doing, in my library, I was finally able to start actually putting the books up on bookshelves. And it's interesting. Here's another one, Book of Angels. It's Dream, Signs, and Meditation. And, if you go into their description of the angels, and there are, I found this one interesting. So, Ariel, the revelator of perception. Wow. Psychic abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience. Discovery of hidden treasures. Revelator of meditations, dreams, and signs. Discovery of nature's secrets. Acknowledgement, gratitude, subtlety, discretion. Bearer of new ideas. Inventor. Discovery of philosophical secrets that lead to the reorientation of one's life. Wow. And it's just interesting because, as you see, there's familiarity in the description of these beings. And it's interesting because in the role-playing game that we're studying, the Children of Fire, we find out that these archangels don't interact with the children of clay. They're rather snobbish. It's a word. I mean, to them, it's not. It's just their reality and existence. And, I'm reading it in relationship to this fascinating book, Secrets of the Serpent Bloodline. Wow. Yeah. Joan Lee, good to see you. Good day to you. Indeed. Deborah Sloan, what's happening? Good to see you as well. And here comes the ambulance. You can hear it passing by. We just speak favor over to whoever that's responding to, yeah. Queen of Swords, how are you? Good to see you. So all the moderators, we love you. I love you. You beautiful beings. You, Bernadette, what's up? So it's interesting. It's like when no one's outside our door, is there? All right, Grace. Hey, what's up? Good to see you as well. So, let's get right into it. Got a lot to cover. Give me 1 second, folks. 1 second. All right, I'm back. It was someone there. I thought I heard someone. So, all right. So, smoke them if you got them. And, if you got your favorite drink at this time, and do it. Hello, Ruby. What's up? Good to see you. So, all right. And good to see you. So, got some good books. I always try to bring something here that adds to the flavor of what we're into. And I tell you, this one, we're really into it. So thought I would bring this up. I have people write me and, sometimes it's, ugly. It's amazing. The ones that are the most religious seem to be the ones that are the ones most contentious, but, there's others. Someone said, I enjoy your channel because it's what the channel is. It's the journey. And my journey is, I spent the greater part of my life worshiping something that I did not know what it was. And as the older I got, and as you continue to read, you end up just repetitive reading. Because, you're going to get new meaning out of it every time you read it. All right, well, I can do the same thing with a book, with a comic book. So that's nothing, particularly existential, spiritual. And, when I would stand up there sometimes on the stage in the audience, and you got your hands raised up and, you're just giving this worship. And I found myself many times thinking, Steiger, exactly what are you worshiping? Jesus. I'm worshiping Jesus. Well, there never was a Jesus, Then in the controversy of, well, no, it's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. Well, the problem with Christianity is that it's not a religion that can stand on its own. It has to borrow from a deeply embedded religion of one race of people. The Ten Commandments was never written for the Gentiles. Never. Wasn't written for the world. It was written to the children of Israel, who later became the Hebrews, who later became Jewish. It was never written for a white boy like me. I'm outside the fold. It gets into that whole circumcision thing, but that is just a fact. And so people are saying, so what are you saying? You don't, there never was for you. The Western world has so perverted and convoluted a story of a people that, the world adapted. So, but anyway, this is a good one. The person who did this book, it's if you're really into studying history and understanding how things came about, this one you'll like. I'm just going to read a little excerpt from it. It says, all of the exact and authentic sayings and teachings of Yeshua remembered in the earliest oral Jesus traditions and collections compiled by his Jewish disciples, AD 30 to 50, before they were rendered into Greek, misunderstood, and Christianized into the later Gospels. Here's a fact, folks. If you want to believe the story, it was orally done. And I don't know how many men or women who could sit down and write verbatim a conversation in the first and second and third person exactly as it unfolded. So you can see how these start. It goes on and it says, in this particular book, it says it translates in terms of the original Hebrew Aramaic vocabulary and idioms used by this rabbi who called himself Yeshua. It's interesting in the New Testament, particularly the four Gospels, the Jesus in that story never called himself Jesus. Wonder why? Explained in the context of the Second Temple, the Messianic Haggadah, the Merkabath, and the prophetic and wisdom traditions, organized and presented in a coherent body of exquisite spiritual teachings that was lost and forgotten in Christianity. And this is Loser Kaiser. If you want this one, I'll be more than happy. It's really a good, it's one that you should have for research reference. I want to get into, and if you're really into speed reading, you're really doing good on that one, huh? Let me just get this, because this is so interesting. It says, recovering the authentic teachings. The Gospels of the New Testament were composed 30 or 70 years after this dude was executed, and all but possibly one of the disciples had died. They were composed of Hellenistic Greek-speaking Gentiles whose only historical links with Yeshua were translations from the Aramaic of teachings remembered by his disciples and sometimes transmitted as collections of isolated sayings and parables. These consisted of the diram, or prophetic utterance, that were more easily remembered in oral tradition because they were expressed in idiomatic rabbinic hyperbole and paradox, the mashalim, or the kabbalistic allegories, and the halakhic teachings of rules and behavior leading to individual spiritual rebirth that would gradually transform humanity and bring in the Messianic age. Wow. That one right there would get you thrown out of First any Baptist church. They'd brand you as a heretic. Yep. I mean, they'd be handing your hat and ass all at the same time. The gospel writers embedded, misunderstood, and mistranslated Greek versions of these into their own framework. Get this, interesting term here, of channeled Holy Spirit teachings. Wow. He just came right and said it. I mean, I have to give the guy a high five for being honest. Oral legends and messianic proof texts taken out of scriptural context to create a narrative about the birth, the geographically impossible travels, death, and resurrection of the Pauline Lord Christ. Two different Jesuses in the New Testament. You got the one in the four Gospels, and if you take the book of Luke, which is basically the transition into the Pauline epistles, Paul apparently was never really introduced to this cat at all. I mean, he was eating some mushrooms and, had this vision. It says, thus little can be known about Yeshua, the pre-Christian Jesus of history. However, it is possible to recover and reconstruct his teachings from early Christian documents. Well, it's already been contaminated. I mean, every religion has an agenda. It's to add more people to its club. Very big deal on that. This is not just a simple process of organizing all the sayings attributed to him in the Gospels, as Thomas Jefferson did in his Jefferson Bible. Very interesting. You read the Jefferson Bible. You should have it in your reference. He, another deist of his day, regarded Jesus as a mortal man who was a great moral teacher. Jefferson described his first attempt to recover the essential teachings of Jesus, which he entitled The Life and Morals of Jesus of Nazareth, in a letter to Samuel Adams dated October 13th, 1813. And here's, I want to bring up in the footnotes of this thing, it says, Paul's epistles are the earliest exact Christian writings. They consist of letters to the Gentile churches he founded. Yeah, I mean, if you ever do a comparative study, but listen to what Jefferson did when he wrote to Adams. He says, we must reduce our volume to the simplest evangelist, select even from them the very words only of Jesus, pairing off the anthropoglogisms, I believe I've got that, logisms, into which they have been led, by forgetting often, or this is a hell of an indictment on the King James Bible, or not understanding what had fallen from him by giving their own misconceptions of his dicta and expressing unintelligibly for others what they had not understood themselves. I mean, how could you? You got a Western mind trying to interpret and get into the mind of a Middle Eastern mind? Yeah, there will be found remaining the most sublime and benevolent code of morals which has ever been offered to man. What Jefferson is saying here to Adams is that man inherently is corrupt, and that if left to man's own devices, he will self-annihilate himself because he's not smart enough, doesn't have the moral structure, the moxie. That's what it's saying. Why do you have religion? He said, Jeffrey went on to write this, I have performed this operation for my own use by cutting verse by verse out of the printed book and arranging the matter, which is evidently his, and which is as easily distinguishable as diamonds in a dunghill. The result is an octave of 46 pages of pure, unsophisticated doctrines. Wow. Again, if you want the book, be more than happy to. It's an interesting read, particularly if you're on the quest. I mean, you know, I have given my points. I mean, the thing about that gets me, people, Philo, and then you got people who bring up Josephus, and we know that. But the fact of the matter is, Jerusalem was a very cosmopolitan city, even 2,000 years ago. And it collected a lot of what we would call today the creative types, writers, philosophers, poets, psalmists. I mean, it goes on. It was also a collection of many different religions. I mean, you read the Bible, you wouldn't pick that up, but in reality, it was. Jerusalem was kind of, you know, the Roman occupation was a pain in the ass, but hey, it was very well known. I mean, Jerusalem wanted to be like Alexandria. You know, and Alexandria was truly the utopia of intellectualism, spiritualism, of the arts, the crafts. Yeah. So that within this group of artisans, not one person, and they had charcoal, they had parchment, they ever drew a picture. Not one. But as I have told you many times, on the road from Rome to Jerusalem, you know, they would have entrepreneurs that would set up their cafes. Many times, if you were lucky, you got a whole troops of the Roman legions coming through. That would boost your daily intake on cash. But yeah, and no story about some dude walking on water turning physical matter. But you know what they did find? Pornography. You know, a lot of breast, a lot of TNA. I mean, you know, yeah. Just saying for a friend. I mean, I'm just saying. So anyway, if you want it. Now, I want to get into this before we get into the latter part of the Children of Fire. So we're reading about the angels. We got the angel cards. We got channels that talk about angels, give guidance from angels, archangels. All right, that's cool. But when you start reading, and this one, this book was primarily in the Middle Eastern point of view, and then subsequently translated into Latin. It's very interesting when we talk about God. These angels that a lot of people pray to, a lot of people invoke, but yet they don't want to give serious consideration as to who and what these angels serve. Now, this grimoire, and that's what it is supposedly the channeled message from the great angel Raziel. And I've got to read this because there is some stuff in here All right, this is supposedly the archangel Raziel. Blessed are the wise by the mysteries coming from the wisdom. Of reverence, the Torah is given to teach the truth to human beings. Of the strength and glory, the honor, and the Shekinah. The power of the highest and lowest works is the foundation of the glory of Elohim. I hope many of you are keeping notes here. The secret word is as milk and honey upon the tongue. Let it be to you alone. The teachings are not foreign to you. This book proclaims the secret of Raziel, but only to the humbled. Stand in the middle of the day without provocation and without reward. Learn the tributes of the reverence of Elohim. Turn away from evil and journey on the path to pursue righteousness. The secret is reverence of the Lord. The worthy go directly to the secrets. It is written, only reveal the secrets of El to serve the prophets. So we've got several things going in here. Just in this one paragraph alone, we've been introduced to three different aspects of God. We have the Elohim, which is both the male and the female. We have the Lord, capitalized. And in fact, we're told reverence of the Lord. That's to give deep respect. And then we have the secrets of El. Someone wrote, why do all the angels have El in the back of their names? Because they're all of God. At least that's what I was taught. There are three secrets corresponding to the Torah of the prophets. All secrets correspond to those three. These three. The commandment is the first wisdom. It's in the book of Proverbs, says the beginning of wisdom is to acquire wisdom. I figure that one out, right? All secrets correspond to the three. It is written, reverence of the Lord is the first knowledge. The beginning wisdom is reverence of the Lord corresponding to three wisdoms. You keeping scorecard? It is written of the outer wisdom, rejoice and build the house of wisdom with the secret of the foundation. Be wise by opening the heart to the secret. There are three kinds of secrets. The secret of the Merkabath, the chariots, the secret of the Bereshith in the beginning or Genesis, and the secret of the commandments, the laws of God. These are made clear by the help of the Shaddai. Shaddai means, by the way, multi-breasted one that you can feed. There are three kinds of reverence of heaven. There are reverence of the Lord, reverence of the Shaddai, and reverence of Elohim. It is made clear that reverence of the Lord is to love the name of God and serve in love. It is written, man is happy to revere the Lord. It is not written here of reverence of the Elohim, but only of reverence of the Lord. That's an interesting point. It is written in the commandments to serve in love, desire to regard in the heart and keep the commandments. Wow. In the commandments, it is said of the reverence of Elohim, revere Elohim. So apparently God didn't say in the beginning through his angel, but as he sent down the commandments, it's now put in there, you need to reverence the Elohim because we forgot them. Revere Elohim, lest you come into the hands of temptation. Man is not to serve in temptation. Of reverence before the king, not rising up by the name. The name important. It is decreed, as it is written, Abraham was beloved. God spoke to him to lead his son. It is written, you know the revered Elohim. You know, if you just do a little bit of study, here's where the story falls apart. These Elohim, this Jehovah, this Yahweh, this Lord, oh, wait a minute, the El, let's just put that aside. Abram was from Samir. Abram, all his life, was taught, in fact, his family were very wealthy. They made the pendants, they made the talisman, they made the idols, particularly of the goddess Inanna, the moon goddess. Abram and his family were very well versed in who Enki and Enlil were. Now, I find it interesting that at no point in any written record is how did Abram become convinced that this Elohim, who he had never heard of, never met, was in fact God, above Enki, above Enlil. Oh, wow, you get really into this, above Ea, El. You know, there is good argument to support that this Elohim is a trickster. Could be Enki. Because it's interesting, the attributes of this Elohim are so far foreign from any record of any tablet discovered in the ruins of Sumer and the many different capital cities in that old empire that we don't hear anything about Enki Enlil, about blood, sacrificing of blood. I mean, and you got to ask yourself, well, then who the hell is this Elohim? Anyway, and it talks about love. Wait till we get in here a little bit, because I'm confused as to what type of love it's talking about. It says, from love, understanding was created by the love and reverence. 1,000 generations come after from love. Here it is. Most people are familiar with the tale of the 10 Commandments, which were handed down to Moses on Mount Sinai after the liberation of the Jews from the land of Egypt. However, in the Old Testament, there are over 60 commandments that were proclaimed by God to Moses. In fact, my old prayer shawl, here it is. So if you happen to have one, or if you ever know what a prayer shawl is, so when you put this on, you have the strings, the knots here. Each one is to be remembered by a commandment given by the Lord. Now, it's interesting because if you count all the knots in all of the hem of the prayer shawl, I think there's 612. But yeah, I still have mine. And yeah, so here again, it was never given to humanity. It was given to a specific race of people that this El, the Elohim, Yahweh, proclaims that he purposely put together genetically. He told Abraham, you're going to be the father of many nations. You go out and look at the stars and count them. And he says, that's how far it's going to go. Wow. And then, of course, you know, the 12 sons. I wanted to get into this because there is some really serious punishment here. It said there are 3 classes of righteousness. There are love, petition, and reverence. The burnt offering corresponds to love. Now, this is the burning of animal flesh, a barbecue. And that's one of the things I did leave Christianity with, is that I knew this God loved barbecue. God must reside in Texas, you know, because it loves barbecue. I know Kansas and all the rest of them. All right. The peace offering corresponds to petition. The sin offering corresponds to reverence. The burnt offering is a sacrifice to the glory of God alone. The peace offering and sin offering are for the sake of the living body. Proclaim love from the petition, and the petition from the reverence. From love, you serve God in righteousness. Give glory and honor to the kingdoms, plural, alone before all things. In goodness, the Lord created the universe by the word, not by labor. God, Elohim, and the Father and King is strong and wise, good and compassionate. You tolerate all things, feeling all the highest and lowest, sustaining in the high places and bringing forth all creatures. Now, this is Raziel talking. You reveal the mysteries of the universe, the knowledge of good and evil. Clearly says in the book of Isaiah that this God created evil for its own pleasure, its own purpose. You tolerate wickedness for the sake of the restoration. Behold, all goodness to the righteous who love God, give praise and laud over the greatest works. Now, I want to get in this next paragraph because it just struck me, and you can see my notes. The burnt offering is sacrifice by petition, served in the holy place. Blessed is it. Fall in supplication and petition. Petition for every measure of goodness for the sake of the benefit of the body. This is the foundation of wisdom, understanding, and knowledge. From this, bring light in the days. Heal the woman unable to conceive and make sons upright in heart. You succeed in works of wealth and glory and treasures, all that is good. Petition the Lord above the sacrifice of the peace offering. Now, I wrote here because it struck me. I wrote, in all my studies, I never came across where Lucifer or Satan or the devil required a human to kill an animal, to sacrifice that animal, to bloodlet it, and then to put it upon an altar and burn its flesh. In fact, in the book of Chronicles, I believe it says that God, the Elohim here, he becomes almost delirious in the smell of the burnt offering. He says it's a pleasing smell to his nostrils. Wow. The next part even gets stranger because, again, I haven't read it. I have searched high and low, and I have not found in any sect, any cult, anywhere, any channeled writings of anything of Lucifer ever saying, bow down before me, worship me, revere me, make sacrifice to me. It's not out there. Give reverence and serve God in great fear. Now, this word fear is derived from the word of fear and trembling. Many translators want to inject the word here, reverence. But the fear is there for a reason, because it is said, even Paul wrote, it's a terrible and fearful thing to be in the presence of the Lord. Okay, Steiger. All right, it says, be delivered from curses written in the Torah. So there's curses. This God, this Elohim, this El, he's good at curses. The punishment comes forth from the holy place. Blessed is it. So these beings, you could be punished and you can be wailed upon and cry and beg and in your torment, and they ain't going to do anything but inflict more pain upon you. It says, its measure is longer than the earth and wider than the sea. Receive salvation from affliction, injury, and suffering. Do not writhe in pain. Do not be ruled over by foreign lands. Do not bring death or speak evil. Feel the days and goodness and blessing in the world. Deliver from misfortune and affliction and destruction from the walls of the fire of Gehenna. The wicked prepare to be burnt, to burn in flames on the day of great judgment. By reverence of the Lord, rise up by sacrifice of the sin offering. Make 3 sacrifices, the burnt offering, the peace offering, and the sin offering. This is heavily Jewish. There's nothing in here about any Gentiles, but yet the Gentiles got the gall and the audacity to think that this God really is talking to them. No. The rabbinical rabbi who told me, do the Jewish people a favor and don't convert, as he said, you folks, you Gentiles are on the outside. That's why you invented the Jesus character. Yeah, I mean, because, the world was already adapting to these rules, which, by the way, this God never said to adapt to. But since you made it, then now you're going to have to play it. Okay. Woo. Holy cow, Batman. Yeah. Folks, and that's why the channel is the journey. I mean, I am like many of you. I mean, I want to make sense of this, because when I begin to dissect that which I have been taught, that which I've learned, and that which I taught, I actually taught this stuff. I mean, and now if those people were to come back and say to me, well, you stood in the pulpit, you were there in the prisons and in the hospitals and what have you, what's up? And I'd have to say, that's just it. What's up? All right, so let's find out about Uriel. I mean, these are some bad mofos here. That's all I got to tell you. If you walk away and think that these are delightful creatures, this book clearly makes it known, and its research is impeccable, that, well, maybe we might have a misinterpretation of what archangels actually are and do. It says, if Michael is God's champion, then surely Uriel, fire of God, is his enforcer. This cherub is the most feared of the seven of divine grace. In fact, were it not for his high grace, Uriel would have certainly made an excellent demon. His overzealous and wrathful nature is legend around the halls of heaven. Uriel is the angel of repentance, as well as the angel who watches over thunder and terror. His most impressive and daunting task is the presider of Tartarus. He holds the keys in his fiery prison. Wow. And it is his underlings who administer punishment to the wicked. It's this whole thing. Listen, if these angels do it amongst themselves, man, can you imagine? I mean, that's why the Baptist religion was brought forth, because the Baptist religion was the best of hell, fire, and brimstone. Hell, back in the day, you go into a Baptist meeting, and a camp meeting particularly, I'll guarantee your sorry ass is going to be up there at the front, laying there and crying and begging God to forgive you, you dirty, filthy sinner, you. Sounds like this angel Uriel. How dare you think you got the right to approach God? You're as filthy rags. Your righteousness is putrid in his nostrils. Well, excuse the fuck out of me, Well, let's go on and find out some more about Uriel. It is not only the punishment of the children of clay that Uriel is in charge of, that's us. His duties extend to the judgment and punishment of the children of fire as well. Righteous angels who have strayed from their path must reckon with his dreadful counsel if they are caught. Both demons and the Grigori are also brought before him for punishment. So how can there be a hell ruled by Satan, Lucifer, that serves the purpose of Yahweh by the punishment? I mean, right there, that this is the mafioso. This is the family. Because Lucifer, or Satan, or however you want to call it, he's got a contract with the big man. Every soul in pays so much, but apparently there's a problem here. I have to ask Uriel, so what is Satan usurped your job? How can Satan or Lucifer or his demons inflict pain and hell upon the children of clay when you've got an angel right here that has legions that do it? Someone's got some explaining to do, because this ain't jiving. Let's continue. He is the sole author of the Book of Retribution, one of the 9 celestial tomes. In this book, he lays out the laws the children of fire must adhere to. I don't know about you, but it sounds like there's no volunteers in this group. You're in there. And if you think you're going to leave, as the Hotel California song says, you can check out anytime you want. You can just never leave. Additionally, he spells out the punishments for these indiscretions. In the last paragraph of this work, he states very succinctly his views on transgression. You filthy transgressor, you. What gives you the right, the moral superiority? You see, you judge other humans and you talk about other humans behind their back, and you get the idea here? To this angel, you are wicked. You're a transgressor. You don't believe me? It's written. It goes on to say, those coming before me, this is Uriel writing, having broken the edict of the Lord, expecting mercy shall find none. You are wretched things, and I have no time for your pleading. Prepare yourself for the eternal punishment to come. For mercy, I know not your name. Well, again, excuse me. I mean, you're totally screwed, man. Screwed, blued, and tattooed. You're completely fucked. Woof. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to be messing with this angel. I don't even think I even want to be calling its name. 2 important events highlights Uriel's dealing with the children of clay. He was the angel sent to Noah to warn the ark builder of the coming flood. He was also the dark angel who came down from heaven to wrestle with Jacob at Peniel. It is said that Uriel has the sharpest eyes in heaven. Indeed, this is the case. No deception or illusion passes his notice, and he is quick to punish those who seek to deceive him. His honor and devotion to God are both impressive and blindly cruel. Woo! Man, that just gives you a funk all over yourself. I mean, holy crap. Let's see about Rugal. Rugal, as friend of God, is an anomaly among the 7 angels of divine grace. He belongs to the choir of principalities, outranking only angels and archangels. Still, he found a way to make himself dear to the Almighty. Centuries ago, he was in charge of overseeing the righteous behavior of the children of fire and dealing out punishment. Man, these creatures are indoctrinated with punishment. I mean, this sounds like, a communist regime. This sounds like a fascist regime. This sounds like, yeah. Wow. It's said that Hitler actually met one of these angels. Now I'm beginning to see something here. At least half of this job was usurped by the mighty angel Uriel. It was Uriel's belief that Rugal was incapable of carrying out these tasks, since many of the angels to be admonished were of greater power and rank. Rugal, who is a forgiving being, holds no grudge against Uriel for this action. This sounds more like humans all the time. I one time thought that, emotions were really just, something that we were gifted with and what have you. No, it seems to be part of the package. Raguel still helps to oversee the conduct of celestials. He helps those who struggle with their existence and who have faltered along the path of the Almighty. In this respect, his underlings and himself are more conciliators than punishers. Well, this will probably be an angel you might want to get to know. Raguel seldom travels to earth. His exploits among the children of clay are less numerous than the other angels of divine grace. In fact, his only great deed among humans was to transport the prophet Enoch to the heavens for his visit. In the heavens, however, Raguel is well known and well respected. He is sought out often for his help and advice. Angels struggling with their flawed nature. Now, there you go. In my Christianity belief, I could not have fathomed a flawed nature, but obviously it was right there in front of all of us. You couldn't have these 200 fallen angels if there wasn't something inherently flawed within them. Again, I meditate, I walk in the woods, and I talk. How can imperfection be here? It's impossible for imperfection to have come from perfection. I've read so many different kinds, but when I write back to them and I'm saying, do you hear what you're saying? You're making excuses to have something birthed out of something that is its opposite. With their flawed nature, will rather deal with him where they might actually receive some help than to tangle with Uriel's angels of purification. That just sounds nasty. David, we got you up here for purification ritual. Okay. Despite his meager appearance and mannerism, do not take him lightly. He still carries the favor of God, and so can accomplish much more than would be seen possible. To cross him is to cross the Almighty himself. Crap. Note to self, right? Rimiel, mercy of God, is of the choir of thrones. He is the angel of true vision. In this capacity, he brings prophetic dreams from God to the children of clay. Additionally, he has been designated as the angel who will lead the souls before the Almighty on Judgment Day. Wow. I don't know if that's a party or a funeral. I'm not sure. But Rimiel's most important role is as leader of the ministering angels. In this capacity, he illuminates the members of the second triad regarding what missions need to be accomplished on earth. In situations of great weight, Rimiel himself descends to earth to deliver the holy message. I would say that the earth is probably about due for a message from one of these creatures. I mean, it's messed up out there, and it's getting more messed up all the time. I often ask myself after reading some of this, is there something else going on? Is there a reason for the quietness? Is there a reason that our world leaders act with absolutely no second thought of a higher being, no second thought about what awaits for them on their death? They act with impunity as though that there is no consequence to any of the actions of which they are inflicting the pain. Would sound like to me that they may have some pissed off angels waiting for them. Don't know. Among the heavenly host, Rimiel is well respected and well liked. Unlike Raphael, though he is not a cheerful and jolly child of fire, rather he is known to be serious and stern, though his fairness is legend. It is also through Rimiel that the Almighty pronounces his revelations concerning the children of fire. These revelations have been repeated to Metatron, who set them down in the Book of Resolutions. Zadkiel. Zadkiel, righteousness of God, is the angel of the choir of denominations. As such, he is the prince of his choir and the second lowest in rank of the seven angels of divine grace. Zadkiel's preeminence is all but ignored by the other children of fire. Wow. He is referred to, though not in his presence, as the forgotten one. That's a hell of a moniker to carry with you. Hey, listen, there goes the forgotten one. But Zadkiel is far more from being worthless. His duties and obligations are numerous indeed. Among these duties, Zadkiel serves as the angel of benevolence, mercy, and memory. He does, however, seem to work more through other angels than the others of divine grace do. Rarely is he seen outside the seven heavens. Only one notable exception to this has occurred. It was Zadkiel who stayed the hand of Abraham when the patriarch sought to sacrifice his son Isaac to the Almighty. Save for this incident, though, his presence on earth is a rarity. His underlings, however, have a very strong presence among the children of clay. Along with his other duties, Zadkiel, with the help of Zophael, has been known to assist Michael when he goes into battle. Such epic confrontations have become rare in modern days, and so his duty has become less demanding for him. Metatron is the mightiest of all angels. He has many titles. Among others, he is referred to as both the King of Angels and even the lesser Yahweh. He is one of the four seraphim, and as such is the prince of his choir. Though children of clay, who know little of him, may quarrel, he is higher in rank than Michael and Gabriel. One of the most distinguishing characteristics of this angel is his height. Indeed, he stands head and shoulders above all the others. Even the Grigori, noted for their monstrous stature, stand a full head smaller. Metatron has many duties in heaven, as would be expected for one of his rank. One of his most important duties is the celestial scribe. 7 of the 9 celestial tomes were authored by him. These works are kept close to his side in the 7th heaven. It would seem that this great champion Michael should assume such a position. Among his other duties is the guardian of heavens. And it would seem that the great champion Michael should assume this position. Yeah, and in fact, Michael was the one who bested Samuel when the Dark One tried to wrestle control of heaven. While Michael may be the brawniest, best in physical confrontation, it is Metatron's wit that makes him such an adept guardian. When the 2 Egyptian sorcerers barged their way into heaven, it was Metatron alone who ousted them. Both Gabriel and Michael tried their best to best the 2 wizards and failed miserably. Though Metatron is never told what trick he used, the 2 interlopers were quickly dispatched. Though he is supreme in heaven, Metatron plays only a secondary role with the children of clay. In fact, though he is the architect of the promises that enlist his fellow angels in helping them, most mortals have neglected him. This is due in large part to the incredibly rarity with which he travels to Earth. In fact, the last known visit of Metatron was when he led the children of Israel through the wilderness. Where are we at? Okay, well, we'll have to pick up on here. We're going to talk about Samuel. We know a little bit about that dude. Well, we continue. What an interesting topic today. Well, thanks for hitting the like button on this. I mean, like I said, this is not everybody's cup of tea, but boy, if you're really the adventurous type and have that ever hunger, expanding your own knowledge. Many of you have knowledge in your own personal experiences, but what's an interloper? That is a stowaway. That is a traveler that shouldn't be there. I'll say it again, just kind of wrapping up today. The problem I have is when I look at this Yahweh, the Elohim, El, the Lord, the Almighty, of this Old Testament and of the structure for which it created. Hey, Blazing River, created by word, not by labor, seems to go against faith without works. Listen, what the hell do I know? Right there. Yosley, how are you doing? How are you doing, my friend? Good to see you, Carolyn. Well, you're welcome. S. Lee, right back. Hey, Sazy Q, much love to you. So I cannot fathom. And when you find out that it created evil, I mean, it's like, maybe it's just my smallness of thinking, but why subject us to it to begin with? I mean, what was the purpose of it? If you knew we were going to fail, then why the freak did you do it? I mean, now you want to stand in this judgment. You got your angels that are doing the punishment, but you son of a bitch, you're not taking the fucking responsibility. This is your shithole, and we're cleaning up after you. I don't get it. And then I try to reconcile that with 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. How do you get this God of love to reconcile with that? Well, Wayne, love isn't always pleasant. Yeah, I found that out as a kid. We seem to perpetrate that really well, don't we? Whew. Man, oh man. Hey, Mary, how are you doing, my love? Good to see you, hon. Anyway, that's just my humble opinion. How can you have a God? And, if love covers everything, love defeats fear, why would there be the need for any of this then? Because you have to have fear in order to feed it. It keeps you in line if you're afraid. That's why I left the religion. Another reason, no one can live it. No human being can live any of the religions I've studied, particularly the one I was in for nearly 5 decades. It's impossible. And you get people beating themselves and beating others and talking about in the name of Jesus and the name of Allah and all this other stuff, and you're going, it's insanity. There's no love here. Woo. Trouble says, well, the tribe is winning. At least we're learning, Man, we don't do the idle chit chat here, do we? There's no shortage of material to cover. Peter, you're right. Just another dogma. It is. I mean, as I've said, and I've said on the record, if Lucifer exists, that's who I want to talk to. I really do. I mean, I want to find out, how do you rebel against perfection? I mean, what are you going to compare it to? Well, I'm bitching because it's all perfect. Everything is perfect. Well, I think what we ought to do is start a revolution so we make everything not perfect. Well, how would you have that thought? Anyway. Robert V says, how is it only the Christian religion has angels? I believe, Robert, but I believe Islam does as well. And if you were to take the Hindu religion, then I think you could probably substitute for a lot of the gods for angels. That's just a discussion point. I mean, and remember, in Islam, you have the jinn. Kick any demon ass. And if you watch Paranormal Caught on Camera, and you've ever seen the videos coming out of Saudi Arabia, I believe there was one that came out of Iraq, of the jinn. I personally have no desire to interact with them. They're bad energy. And they seem to really enjoy screwing with us, but that's just me. But I don't know. Surely I just read that. I've had that feeling as well. All right, you lovely folks. Thank you all. You're just a delight, every one of you. Thank you. You know, this is a conversation that will continue. Particularly when I see it picked up on other channels. It's one of these discussions that, it's like, Lucy, you got some explaining to do here. That's all I know. Our evolution is the real revolution. Divine Empress, hey, yeah, I'll go with that. High five on that one. Absolutely. All right, folks. Much love to you. See you tomorrow. Keep smiling and keep asking the questions. And if you got the answers, send them to me. Chrissy, I love it. Got your email. We're going to get that going as well. Troy, thank you. S. Lee, did someone say steaks? Michelle Reed, the Russians engaged. I'm going to have to get it. Oh, interesting, Michelle. That is interesting. Monkey experiment, they and their servants are a reflection of them. Yeah. Nothing missing, nothing broken, Jackie. Absolutely. Carol, thank you, my dear. All right, folks. See y'all tomorrow. Have a good one. That's the way I look at it. Keep smiling.